What's up? Alright, today I want to tell a story about how Wataru got to using the UFO Dripper on the World Brewers Cup Championship stage in 2024. It's all kind of crazy looking back and thinking back on it, because really, I'm not sure if Kenzie and I were in a spot where we expected somebody to take the UFO to the world stage. I mean, we had our very first meeting on the concept of UFO at the end of 2023. Around September, October of 2023 was when Kenzie and I first met at Fount to discuss the concept of UFO Dripper and to see if it was even going to be a good idea. Right, because I was so against to making a dripper. But anyway, yeah, so sorry, my dad called, and so quick break there. But anyway, nonetheless, so we were testing the concept, and we were at a stage where we felt pretty comfortable sharing the concept to the world, right? Like, hey, we're making this thing. It's an entirely new approach to a conical dripper design. There were also a few other pieces of technology that we thought we could implement as, like world's first thing. For instance, making it dual-walled, right? So we wanted to be able to make a first ever dual-wall plastic conical dripper, because that doesn't exist. Only glass or porcelain or ceramic existed. And so anyway, yeah, so we were at a stage where we already had the basic idea of how we wanted the dripper to look and function, right? So the 80-degree wall angle was already there. The air channels were already there. By then, we had already finalized the air channel design. And so, yeah, we decided to share some photos of some of the prototypes that we were testing. And I remember we began to get a little bit of traction. Not much, but a little bit. And I remember getting a message, a DM on Instagram, by a Japanese Brewers Cup competitor who was Wataru. And he said, hey, I am a Japanese Brewers Cup competitor. I have moved on to finals, and I would like to consider using UFO Dripper for Japanese Brewers Cup finals. And basically the timeline of that was like a few weeks. And so I told Wataru, I said, look, I'm so sorry, but we just can't make it happen. We can't make it happen for Japanese Brewers Cup finals. But if you win Japan, if you win Japanese Brewers Cup, we will do whatever needs to be done so that you can consider using UFO on the world stage. Winning a national championship is damn difficult. And so it was kind of a, I don't know, shot in the wild. But I sent the message, and a few weeks go by, and I get another message in the inbox. It was from Wataru, and it read, "Hi, I won." Oh, man. And the message said, I won, and I would like to test and use UFO Dripper on the world stage. And I remember reading that message and going, shoot. All right. I guess it's time to get to work. And so Kenzie and I got to working hard at it. I mean, we had moved away from the one-piece design and switched over to the two-piece design, which was the V1. It was detachable, and it gets interesting because some of the design components that we included and implemented ended up working out to be some of the key details in Wataru's presentation. But nonetheless, another thing too was we didn't want to send these to Wataru for free. We didn't want Wataru to use the UFO Dripper just because it was a hot new thing on the market. So we didn't send them for free. We charged Wataru for every single one of the units that he used on the world stage, plus shipping. It also helped that we knew that Wataru worked for Saza Coffee, and so, Wataru wasn't just an independent barista, but we knew that he had support. And so that also kind of helped us justify that decision of charging him instead of just giving it to him, which in hindsight, was kind of a bold move. It could have gone either way, right? He could have bought them and used them and said, screw this. But thankfully for us, he really enjoyed the way the UFO brewed. And so he decided to use it on the world stage. Nonetheless, even him getting the units and actually using it on the world stage was no easy feat, because you have to test so many different things, right? You can't just go, oh, this brews coffee really, really well, I'm going to use it on the world stage. You have to test different filters. Look, World Brewers Cup Championships, getting to compete at the world stage as a barista, as a brewer, is like once in a lifetime opportunity. You don't get to go to World Brewers Cup Championships multiple times in your lifetime, and if you do, you're incredibly lucky, and or you live in a country where there's like 7 or 10 competitors, and so maybe the odds are higher for you, which there certainly are countries where it kind of operates like that. But anyway, in Japan, it's not like that, and so there's so many incredible competitors in Japan. And so, Wataru really kind of trusted the UFO Dripper for perhaps the most important moment in his life. And what an honor that is. And so it was kind of all hands on deck. We needed filters because we couldn't just say, okay, Wataru, this is how you fold the filter. It's a totally different angle, and so you got to fold the filter this way, otherwise it's not going to fit right and all this. And on this, Lambert and Joachim and Siberus, they came in clutch. They helped us out tremendously. I think Wataru had literally told us, if Siberus can make UFO specific filters for me to use on the world stage, I will use the UFO. I will commit to the UFO. I believe that was one of the contingencies that Wataru had made. And so I basically begged Lambert and Joachim. I said, please, what do we need to do to make this happen? And they were incredibly stoked about it, because they're also one of the most, they're a few of the most passionate, real coffee people out there as well, which helped my case. But nonetheless, they made it happen, and Wataru committed to using the UFO on the world stage, which even then, it's just a verbal confirmation, right? Anything can happen. Maybe a different company comes in, maybe a different company with more money comes in and says, hey, if you use our dripper on the world stage, we'll give you X amount of money. So we weren't sure. Nothing was for certain, but nothing was for certain until he actually competed on the world stage. And the day came, and Wataru showed up to the world stage with 3 3D printed UFO V1s. It was surreal seeing my creation on the stage. It was surreal to see the fruits of Kenzie and I's labor on stage, on the World Brewers Cup Championship stage, guys. On the world stage. Insane. First round goes by, and mind you, this is all happening in Chicago, and I'm in Korea, and so the time difference is massive. But nonetheless, I'm staying up and sleeping little bits here and there when I can before announcements. And they announce who gets to go to advance to semifinals. Competitor 1, competitor 2, competitor 3, competitor 4, competitor 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No. Wataru's name's not getting called. And on the very last spot, in the very last slot, Wataru's name gets called. I was like, this was cool. We got to see UFO on stage, on the World Brewers Cup Championship stage. But, what'd you expect? It was your first year getting your product out in the world, and first time being used on World Brewers Cup Championship stage. At least we got some good exposure, right? Like, at least we know that it works. At least we now know that it can be trusted on the world stage. But Wataru's name got called. He was called last to advance to semifinals. And then semifinals happen, and of course they're doing finalist announcements, and of course I'm wide awake, and this time he got called first. 6 brewers then went on to World Brewers Cup Championships finals, and Wataru's name was called. This meant for me and Kenzie. This meant for us that our dripper was about to be used on the world stage by the top 6 brewers in the world. Finals go by, and then they're doing announcements for final placements. 6th place, somebody else. 5th place, somebody else. 4th place, somebody else. 3rd place, somebody else. Here, I am just crapping my pants. Here, my heart is just pounding. I'm like, no way, no way, no way. And then 2nd place, Wataru's name got called. And I could not be any more proud of Wataru's work, Wataru's dedication to this craft, and I also could not be any more thankful to have had Wataru as a representative of UFO Dripper on the very first showing at World Brewers Cup Championships and placing 2nd. Not just being on the podium, but being 2nd place in the world. My dripper that I poured my heart and soul into was used to place 2nd place at World Brewers Cup Championships. Crazy. And then from there on, a lot of things in my life has changed. Wataru placing 2nd place at World Brewers Cup Championships has opened doors and connections that I never thought even possible. Of course, it's my responsibility to capture those opportunities. Realize and recognize those opportunities, and really do what I can, and do what I have been doing the past year or so. But nonetheless, it was life-changing. And that's kind of how it all happened. I forgot to tell y'all what the design components of UFO and how it all kind of played out in a really funny way. And so Wataru one day sent me a picture of this crazy looking setup. What he had done was he took Nucleus Paragon, and he took apart the V1 into 2 pieces. So he placed the cone piece in the Paragon dripper holder, and then placed the bottom base unit, flipped it upside down, put a mellow drip inside the base, and put that on top of the server. That way, coffee, after it extracts chills through the Paragon ball, will go through mellow drip to aerate the coffee. It was all insane. It was all insane how all of this happened. From from an idea to execution, and to Wataru just going out there on stage and just killing it, telling his story. I mean, his story was beautiful. His concept was around Finding Nemo. It was beautifully presented. Nonetheless, that is how Wataru Hidaka, representing Japan, got to using UFO Dripper on the World Brewers Cup Championship stage. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and thank y'all so much for your continued support around UFO Dripper and around my personal ventures and my personal journey. Truly means the world. Thank you.